walking with you, bringing you into this outstanding conversation that we're having.
In existence, which for me, stands. Exit, out, stands, standing, outstanding. Existence is outstanding.
Yes, it is.
Outstanding from the very what thing? Standing out from what? Exactly. Standing out from what?
The center.
Yeah.
We come from the center of nothing. We return to the center of nothing. Ultimately, our true identity is the center of no thing. Now, here, or nowhere.
A home for everyone.
And these aren't just plays on words. These are expressions of states of being and states of energy which are very real and experiential. And the more we understand this and experience them, the more we can work with these states of energy and co-create with them. Because these are the archetypal fields of energy that co-create the whole universe. We plug into that, we become co-creators with these energies. Of course, with that comes great power, and that can be the potential problem.
Yes.
Because the ego loves power, it's addicted to it. So the ego, who is serving this process of transformation, can at any time sabotage the process and grab the power of it.
Anytime, yes.
All the time. So that's why that's why vigilance and constant mindfulness is so important.
Because we're human, we can see an individual to be so strong, so independent and great, if I use that word. But just suddenly a little word can flip-flop that reality into such a weakness in a momentary second.
A word is a sword, or it's a brick for a bridge. And we have choice how to use those tools. We can use words as a sword to separate, to cut to pieces, to divide and conquer. Or we can use words as bricks to build bridges to each other across the gap.
Yes.
There's the choice.
And it makes so much sense for me, since I now experienced the breath, the spiritual breath, if you say so, working with that, and through my own experiences, see how powerful it can be. And then I can bring in that to my logical mind and to make them integrate here. And then say a word. How does a word come out from my mouth? Well, it's through breath. And if I now have experienced that my breath is so powerful, my mind can grasp that words may be powerful too. I should watch what I say, or I keep silence, or I speak through my own experiences. No, that's integrity, that's honesty, that's an expression of my individual soul, the Jivatma, that I call it in Hindu.
Yes.
And that's the great human potential to do that.
Yes, we all have it. That's the gift we're given as human beings. We all have that same potential to have that similar experience and then express it in our unique individual ways. And that's the beauty of diversity.
That's how we can create new things in so many directions at the same time. That amazing variety of expressions in any form, any human form, any being, any flower, tree, mountain, everything that exists in nature is an expression of truth.
That's my experience.
So returns us to how important it is to just observe. Just to be that observer.
Detached observer.
That's exactly. Because when we're not detached, the observer becomes the observed. An observer with no thoughts. Is that possible?
Choiceless awareness. Yes, it's possible.
In no mind. Just a direct perception of what is. Is that possible?
Yes, because it's happening anyway. The only thing that's separating us from us is the old program, the old mythology in the programmed mind.
Why is that in its way? Why does it want to sabotage? Why doesn't it want to live?
Because it believes it's God. Ego believes it's God. It has an idea that it's the ideal. Idea means I, God. Ideity, ideal means I, ego, deal. We play by my rules. I own the house. I control everything that happens. I'm the ideal.
Where did it come from?
Fear. Fear.
And fear is necessary for love, if you use that word, as an equal to truth, freedom, and God. Fear is necessary to exist in this duality, polarity universe, right?
Yes. Because without that fear of not being, without the fear of not being one with God, we wouldn't move toward union with God. The fear comes from the original separation of God within God, when it separates itself into polarities. Along with it comes the consciousness of separation and therefore fear. In wholeness, there's no fear. In separation or disintegration, fear arises because the mind experiences something it doesn't know how to deal with, a threat to its very existence. So it reacts to that with the sword, with ego, with defense. And so fear creates mind creates ego, and ego creates personality or mask that we put on to mediate with the external world in order to get power, to get over and get higher and higher positions in the world because of the God fear.
Yeah.
But when we realize that the harvest of that, the fruits of that, the results of that are more fear, and along with it all the children of fear, jealousy, hate, lust, covetousness, all of that, these are all children of fear, that all goes away. When we finally realize that fear is the ultimate illusion that we're projecting out of our own shadow, and we realize that by turning and facing our shadow, naming our shadow, and then releasing the energy of the shadow, integrating it back into our centers, so now we've got creative energy that we were putting into the shadow.
Expressing our own art.
Yes, and then fear disappears. Fear becomes courage. Movement from the heart. Courage, the age of the heart.
So when we talk about the mental dimension or mental aspect of division, of separation, there's fear in that.
Yes.
So then we can say that the mind fears the body, the physical body. Because if you look at life, if you look at the embryo, if you look how the original egg in the mother's womb is receiving the sperm, and from there creating the first cell, there's a division into 2 cells, into 4 cells, into 8 cells, and so on.
Exponentially.
So in that division, which is in separation, fragmentation, there is the possibility that the mind fear that process.
Because it doesn't understand it.
Which is happening right now. I'm looking out in a garden, which I can't see it, but there is a growth in that flower I see. So does my mind in that moment fear that flower because it knows there is a division there? There's a new thought that's coming up now. So do we fear the world? Do we fear nature? Does mind fear the world? Does mind fear the nature?
In essence, mind fears the unknown, what it doesn't know, because the mind is totally fed and created by, quote, knowledge. Abstract symbols, words, and images that are pictures or expressions of truth. That's the best the mind can do, is to create symbols about the truth. But it can't experience the truth directly because it's symbolic. So therefore, the mind is actually an illusion
Mm.
that was created when fear first arose in the individual consciousness.
Mm.
Let's say that an amoeba, a one-celled amoeba,
Yeah.
has no fear because it's just floating around and
Like an egg.
yeah. But then suddenly it bumps up against another amoeba
Uh-huh.
or some other thing, and suddenly it realizes there's other,
Yeah.
and there's some pain in the other,
Yeah.
and so fear is born.
Yeah.
And then out of that fear comes all the disintegration of consciousness and reality, and all the problems of human reality and probably the universe come from that fear created by the mind.
Of separation.
Yes.
And when there's a conclusion and experience of oneness, that we all are one, there can't be no more fear in that.
Exactly. There's no place for fear.
No.
Fear is based upon the illusion of separation.
Yeah.
Totally in the mind because of the necessity to use symbols and images that are not truth, but stories about truth, and then getting trapped in the trick that these symbols and words are real.
Yeah. And ultimately the mind is just tricking itself
Yes.
to destruction.
Yes.
Because it's so stupid, the mind. If you agree with that, for a mind to function, for its own function, in its best way, it needs to be in security. Like, have a good shelter, have nutrition, and have, let's say, clothes.
Shelter and
Yeah, shelter.
protection.
Protection.
Security.
Yeah, security. Need security. But in the very nature of the mind is destructive in that, because it's just looking for insecurity, just finding other ways to separate, in other ways to be secure in everything else, which is going in security, which is a false security. So it's so stupid.
Stupid, I mean, it's ignorant, meaning it chooses to ignore truth. It's not stupid. It has the capacity to understand
Mm.
and to learn and to create out of that understanding. But the fear sabotages that and separates it from that process of creativity.
Mm.
So until that fear is overcome in the mind itself, the separation is going to continue. The experience of artificial separation will continue.
Mm.
But once the mind lets go of fear and all of the products of fear, then that all goes away. Because it's an illusion. It's a bubble that pops.
Mm.
And what's left is nothing.
But it doesn't want that, because the mind doesn't want to see itself as an illusion.
It doesn't want to pop.
Because that's a death for itself. And all life wants to continue live. And then my logical mind would say that the mind also wants to continue live.
Unquestionably.
Yeah. So there's a death of the... Well, death, there's nothing that really is a death. It's
But
just-
it doesn't know that.
It's a
So
transformation of energy.
yes, but for it, it's death. Because
Yeah.
it doesn't understand the truth of transformation.
Can we somehow educate the mind in that?
Yeah, first by erasing it and erasing all the old myths. We have to erase
We're
all.
gonna educate you now, my mind. I'm gonna erase you first. Don't be scared.
Yes, exactly. We're going to shatter you now, but don't be frightened.
I'm gonna erase you.
You're going to be totally annihilated and brought down to nothing. So, but don't be frightened.
I'm gonna do it very slowly, day by day.
Yes. That's why this is such a delicate, even dangerous process until you understand clearly, step by step,
Yes.
how to approach the mind in order to eliminate the mind.
It's like bullfighting. You know, in the bullfighters they are erasing it, eliminating it, killing it very slowly. And the more you do that, until you come to the limit where it loses too much blood, it gets more and more furious, fighting for his life, and it gets more and more dangerous. I can see the same thing with the mind. You know, it's like a wild bull that you try to kill slowly.
See.
It's pain.
I've shared this with you before, but I think it's appropriate now. My friend Rapping Fox gave me a short poem about this.
Yeah.
He called it Operation Overflight.
Yes.
How do you tell anybody anything? How do you say I somehow live and love my life lonely? Or how do you phrase, if you could see your soul, it would shatter your ego? So let's learn to look at our soul.
Yes.
Let's just shift our focus about 30 degrees or however much it takes from mind, ego, personality to the spiritual soul body.
Yes.
And that's choice. That's available for everyone, and it takes great courage to do it. Faith and courage. Both.
Yeah, and that comes to sacrifice a lot of things that the world is built on right now. We have to sacrifice the power of being superior or feeling inferior also in that sense to everyone else. This is one aspect of power. Power is big. We have to sacrifice our sexual misconduct, our sexual animal behavior. We have to sacrifice
Almost everything that we've been programmed to believe is real and true.
yeah, the animal in us have to be sacrificed.
The lower three chakras of the body, to use that system of information,
Yeah.
is the animal in us.
Yeah.
So all of our energy that we have available to us right now through the ego, we put into the lower three chakras of the body, which reinforces the animal man, the animal being.
The animal world.
Yes. However, when we, by choice and exercises and guidance, bring that energy up out of the animal, up to these higher centers of our body, then we become human.
Yes.
Until we finally reach that crown chakra,
Yeah.
and we become Christed.
Yes.
And at that point, we can quantum leap to the Godhead and become one with God,
Yes.
the 8th chakra.
Yes. So to start this process, we have a choice. As we said we heard from the Rapping Fox poem, we can observe, look at our soul. That we say that harmony will bring all harm with it. That's one way of working with it. Another way of working with it is to do the shadow work and to look and be aware of the other part of ourselves and understand what that is all about and see it for what it is, accept it, become friend with it, and use it wisely.
Yes, because at that point, it loses its grip on us. It no longer demonically possesses us.
Yes.
It now becomes our ally, because it's our energy that we pushed into the unconscious, and that process then turns against us and wreaks havoc on our lives.
Yes. That's the first part of the process, be aware of it. But then, when it's these very deep-rooted issues, it also takes a transformational process where we can see the new symbol. And we transform that old, deep-rooted, negative pattern that's been suppressed our whole lives, and go into our core belief system and dictating how we behave in the world. When we can transform and co-create this new, there is an alternative, a solution for that. And that's how we transform, bring that energy with us to this moment, to our breath, and being co-creators with that energy. And in that process, creating a new symbol for how we choose to live our life. For now, and for now, and for now, and for now.
always for now here. Because it can only happen in the living moment. Can't happen in the past. It can't happen in the illusion of the future. Yesterday's dead, tomorrow's blind, so we live one day at a time now here. This is where we're co-creators, in this living utopian moment.
For me, future is as much history as the past is. Because future can't be without the past. Because future is something that is an illusionary imagined from the images, beliefs from the past.
Therefore, the past is usually dictating the present and the future.
Yes.
And therefore, sabotaging.
And that's for repetitive.
Yes.
And it's nothing new.
Yes.
And we stay in traditions for what has been, in those kind of system and patterns. And
until that energy becomes static,
yeah.
And then turns against itself and
Yeah.
starts to disintegrate and die.
Yeah. So if we choose life, we choose to co-create something new every breath.
In the present moment, with every breath, yes.
That's all it is.
Yes, yes. It is very simple, but because of mind, ego, personality,
So much in between.
very difficult. Once mind, ego, personality has been neutralized and transformed, the process is natural, spontaneous, simple, and is done with choiceless awareness.
Yes. And to peel an onion, there's a lot of crying. But when we come to the center, there's nothing there.
Yes.
But crying also means
Releasing.
joy.
It means release to joy, yes. Tears of joy.
Yeah.
It's a purging
Yes.
and a cleansing. It's a
Yes.
baptism.
Yes.
I love crying. That's half of who I am, is the woman in me. Let her express herself. And one of the beauties of woman is that she can release her emotions immediately, almost.
So hard for us men to do that.
Because we're programmed not to.
Yeah.
And yet it's half of who we are naturally. So it's unnatural not to cry or feel emotion or express it.
So what about this? What about breathing? What about singing and chanting? What about dancing? What about laughing? What about crying? What about playing? How does it sound for you?
Sing and dance and make a joyous noise unto the Lord.
And spinning, of course. That's how we started. Make it into a spin of co-creation.
Yes.
Every turn in a spiral is co-creation.
Movement into new territory. Movement into new space. Movement into new experience.
Going to the left, we can say negative. Going to the right, we can say positive. But there's no value between those words. It's just a way of speaking in this polarity, duality world, in this universe.
Because there's a third choice. Right down the middle or right up the middle. Neither to the positive nor to the negative, because they are both illusions that come from someplace else, and we are that someplace else, the center of wholeness.
Dance around that Tao, sing around that Tao, spin around that Tao, do everything around that Tao.
The Tao being the way of truth. Yes. Let's close this with 8 Aum Daos.
Okay.
Aum is the name, Tao is the way. This chant is the name way.
Mm.
This invokes the name and the way.
Mm.
And its frequency is 8.
Okay.
It's actually 17. 8.
Like the Aquarius new consciousness own vibratory frequency that we're coming into for these 5,120 years right now.
Yes.
That we just started for a few months ago. So let's see ourselves as not even born yet, kind of. It takes maybe 70 months or so to get born. So patience, my friends, we have patience.
Have faith, be patient,
Be open,
and learn to wait
be receptive and open.
till Spirit moves you. All right, let's down and close this out.
And we're talking to ourselves here. As
But if
much
you
as we
happen
talk to anyone
But
else.
if anyone else is listening, some of this information probably resonates with you also. So if it resonates with you, apply it, practice it, make it real in your life, and before you know it, you become a transformer of your own life. Let's do it one more time now.
I wasn't really prepared
Right.
for that one.
All right, deep breath.
Down.